Hi, my name is Dr. Justin Dorenzo. I'm a clinical psychologist and forensic psychologist and relationship expert. I'm also recognized in the community as an anger management specialist. I receive many court-ordered evaluations for clients and patients that need evaluations for anger management as well as treatment or therapy for anger management. So, again, I consider myself an expert. My local community considers me an expert, and I have put together an 8-hour course for you to do online in the comfort of your own home in order to learn about anger management and to improve your response to anger and different emotional difficulties. The course is based largely on a manual from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, as well as activities that I have found to be effective in therapy in the clinical setting that seem to help patients and clients better manage their anger and other emotional difficulties. If after you go through this course you will be asked to either provide me with a copy of your exercises, with answers to your exercises, or to complete a final examination at the end. You can do either. Both will get you a certificate after you complete the course, a certificate of completion. So it's completely up to you whether you send me a copy of all of your responses to the exercises or you complete the final examination at the end. So, but the materials that you'll need for the course, I recommend either having a tablet that you can take notes on, or a notebook, or using some type of Word document. There are 8 specific sessions in this course, and there are 9 actual videos that are about 15 minutes in length. The first 8 have exercises that follow, and it is really up to you that you spend 8 hours on this course. After each video segment, it's realistic that you would spend another 45 minutes to an hour to complete each assignment over the next day or the next couple days or the next week in between you viewing the next video segment. So again, it's up to you how quickly you complete this course, but because you're going to receive 8 hours credit for this course, I'd recommend that you spend at least 8 hours on this course. If you need some type of in-person, face-to-face supplement to this course, based on your court order or just because of your own desire, you're welcome to call the office and we can make arrangements for that. But let's focus specifically on this introductory session, Session 1. I welcome you again, and let's get started. So, Session 1, Understanding Anger, Myths, and the Anger Meter. Anger versus aggression. Anger, so what is anger? Anger is a natural emotion that starts as a little irritation and has the potential to grow into an internal rage. Anger is natural and often leads to irritation. It just happens. Obviously, if we could choose to avoid irritation, we would do it. Anger can be triggered by the regular frustrations of life, like situations where our needs or goals are not met. Feeling threatened or believing harm will come to us or people we are close to. It is important to understand that anger is not a behavior, it is an emotion. Anger becomes a problem when it is felt too intensely and too often, and when it leads to negative consequences. What is aggression? Aggression is an unnatural behavior that attempts to express this overwhelming emotion of anger. Now, aggression in the animal kingdom is certainly normal, but we as humans have hopefully evolved to a point where we don't need to express aggression. So, for some and for most in the treatment field, we would consider it an unnatural or a dysfunctional behavior. So, we want to try to use other ways to get our needs met. So we choose to act aggressively because it gives the illusion of relief. It provides relief by releasing tension and by controlling others solely because they are afraid of some act of violence. In the long run, aggression and other ineffective behaviors only make the problem worse. Sure, we feel better after acting aggressively, but everybody else involved does not, which will only promote more reasons to become angry, which will only promote more reasons to be angry in the future. So myths about anger. Anger is automatically followed by aggression. So a myth. It is often believed that aggression comes from anger, which is understandable. If our emotions are relieved, we must be doing something right. However, we are just postponing those emotions. If we think about ways to express anger as different tools, aggressive behavior is just the only tool we have, and we have become good at using it. It is very possible to learn how to use new tools so that we're better equipped to express anger. These tools include assertive skills, positive and gentle self-talk, and promoting rational beliefs. We will also learn to use the right tools in different situations. For example, we wouldn't use a screwdriver to hammer a nail. The second myth, people must be aggressive to get what they want. When it comes to getting what we want, it is believed that we have an ultimatum. Either be aggressive and get what we want, or do away with aggression and never get what we want. But what if there was a way to get what we want without having to act aggressively? Well, the answer is assertiveness. And assertiveness is a way of expressing our irritation while being respectful and showing how you would like the situation changed. This form of communication helps keep the attention focused on the situation and not the person. Another myth, anger is inherited. If we believe this to be true, we just bought a one-way ticket to being an angry person for the rest of our lives. This myth requires us to believe that our anger is a fixed trait that cannot be changed. Instead, research studies prove that anger is a learned process, which implies that we are able to learn new effective ways of expressing anger. Yes, it may be true that our mother or father is an angry person, but that does not mean that we inherited an angry trait. It just means that we learned how to be angry through observation of them. Venting anger is always desirable. So this is a myth. Venting anger is always desirable is a myth. Again, venting anger, screaming, hitting pillows, etc. does give the illusion of relief in the moment. However, it just reinforces aggressive behavior, which harbors those angry feelings. So even mental health professionals accepted this myth for a while, but they realized that patients are just learning how to escalate their anger and how to act aggressively. So specific to this, I provide a lot of marital type therapy, and we used to think that it was beneficial for couples to have venting sessions where they both just air their complaints to each other. And what the research has found is that it just leads to more animosity and an escalation of resentment and anger. So it's better just to learn new coping and learn new ways of processing through whatever the problems are. So breaking the habit of anger. Again, anger is habitual. The more time we spend letting our irritations escalate into anger, the more familiar that pattern becomes. It becomes so familiar to us that we don't even think about it anymore. It just happens. Our brain recognizes that we are irritated and without thought falls back into the familiar pattern. How to break this habit? Well, being aware of when anger is we got to be aware of when anger is escalating. The first step we can take toward nipping anger in the bud is recognizing situations and actions individuals make that usually make us angry. Then stop the usual thought pattern. The old saying goes, if we do what we've always done, we'll always get what we've always gotten. So we have to try to do things differently. And then, of course, strategies for controlling anger. Unfortunately, becoming aware of our anger is not enough. We still need to develop tools. These strategies include breathing techniques, thought stopping, and a timeout. The most effective strategy to put to use this early is the timeout. So a timeout is used when we recognize that our angry emotion and thoughts are beginning to escalate. We should simply tell ourselves to take a timeout from the issue. Stop thinking about it and remove yourself from the situation. So we know too from psychological studies that when we tell people just to not have a thought, sometimes that thought, becomes even more difficult to break away from. For example, if I told you not to think of a pink elephant, of course you would think of a pink elephant. So a better strategy is really to distract yourself, avoid the situation, remove yourself from the situation, or try to think of another thought rather than just not think of that specific thought. The anger meter. A great way to become aware of our anger is to identify and understand it by using the anger meter. The anger meter works by rating our level of anger on a scale of 1 to 10. A 1 being not angry at all, completely controlled and calm, and a 10 being very angry and receiving negative consequences. The way we scale our anger is completely up to us, as long as we understand that a 1 is completely calm and a 10 is very angry and receiving negative consequences. So the goal, of course, is to stay out of that red zone from 3 up, but specifically 3 to 7 on a daily basis. Again, we get to 9, 10 is that explosive behavior that we're trying to avoid. So we want to try to stay at a range of 0 to 3. I have a exercise that I'd like you to complete now that we are concluding session 1. So for this exercise, you will need a small notebook and a pen or computer tablet. For the next couple of days, I'd like you to rate your level of anger every time you notice that you're in a situation of stress. I would like you to write down the situation and your level of anger according to the anger meter that you learned about today. I would also like you to reflect upon the myths about anger that you have learned, especially following any episodes of anger that you experience, and then write a few sentences of reflection about them down in your notes as well. So again, based on you taking this 8-hour course, I really want you to spend another 45 minutes or an hour a week on each of these exercises, and let's start with this one today. This concludes session 1, and I look forward to spending some time with you as we move through the following sessions. Thanks.